right, we're live. My name is Adam McMath. I am the executive director and president of Black Alphabet, not-for-profit, and Black Alphabet Film Festival in Chicago is our main event every year, but we also have Black Alphabet Cincinnati Film Festival, and we've done some pop-ups all over the place. So check our website if you would like to participate at this point anywhere all over the country and anywhere in semi-internationally at this point. So today I am joined by author and film director and writer Shelby Gamble, SB. We're going to go with SB today. Gamble, and he is the director of a film that we're featuring at the Black Alphabet Film Festival, Without You. Welcome, Shelby.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Holding on and hanging out. You know, that's 2020 right now. So yeah.
Cool. So I just really want to go over your bio really quick and just kind of tell us about yourself, how you became an artist, and this is your second go round with Black Alphabet. So I want to let our audience know about that as well.
Yeah. Gosh, I have been creating for as long as as long as I've been a kid. My mom, she was a single mother, and it was me and my younger sister. And, back in the day, we didn't have no cable or internet. Okay. So we had to entertain ourselves. So, that really forced me to be very imaginative. And it's just something that, some people grow out of it. I unfortunately did not. So I just kept on following this and kept on storytelling. And it's a part of my DNA. I think that storytelling is the most magical thing on the planet. I think that it's a way to really communicate principles and ideas and humanity to other people. Somebody can tell you don't do that, but if they tell you a story about how they got messed up while doing it, you gonna remember it. So it's just kind of just following that desire to tell a story, just storytelling. It's a part of my DNA now. So I initially just said, okay, well, I'm just going to scratch this itch by writing novels. So I wrote a couple of novels, and I thought that, I was good. I scratched the itch, but I work at a bank. I manage a bank, and 2 years ago, there was a shooting outside the bank. And it was one of those things where you realize how finite life can truly be. And it was time for me to actually do the things I wanted to do. I wrote the books because thinking that, maybe I don't have enough resources to put together a film. But when that life or death moment kind of happened, it made me realize that you should try to achieve your dreams. And lucky enough, I did my first film, Reunited, and it was picked up by you guys and a couple other film festivals. And all of a sudden it was just like, oh snap! Wait, hold up! Wait a minute! You mean I can do this? And so ever since then, I've been chasing it. And so far, I've done about 4 short films. I wanted to do a feature-length film, but then 2020, it just came through with the 1-2, you know what I mean? So luckily that film, I was able to turn it into a short film. It was like 35 minutes or so. So, I've been definitely lucky in that regard, and I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. It's part of my life. I don't know what else to do if I'm not telling the story.
Yeah, and from my perspective, what's great about your films is that they are indie films, but the production value, and I think that's something that you feel is very important. The production value of all your films are top notch. So talk to me about how you got there. Did you have formal filmmaking education? Or are you just very observant and learned on your own?
So I think that for me, because I have a sort of corporate job, it requires a lot of organization and a lot of planning. And so that has become a part of my DNA too. So really looking and studying, and before I wanted to do my film, before I even really thought about it, I studied long and hard. And I think what it is when you're an independent filmmaker, you have to do what's called resource filmmaking. Okay, looking at your resources and figuring out what you can do. And you don't need a lot. You just need to know your good camera angles. You need to know the basics of cinematography, the basic of production design, whether it be like having everybody wear sort of the same colors or complementary colors, or playing with lights, really looking at your resources and really maximizing them. You know what I mean? It's like something can look really wonderful if you know how to light it appropriately. You know what I mean? So it's really about really using and optimizing every resource as possible. You know, if I'm shooting on a digital camera, I want it to look a little bit more film-like, so I'll use a vintage lens, which are cheap. And so it's really about researching how you want to execute something before you jump into it. As a director, you are the captain. You're, quote, the manager of the ship. So you really need to be able to communicate and put together a plan that you can give out to people, and so they can execute on, and really allow people. Once you have that plan, you'll be surprised that it'll let people who are talented, like, that will give them the freedom to do what they want to do. So I think that's ultimately about the plan. That is what being a director is. It's the plan.
Yeah,
so.
And it's interesting that you keep mentioning your corporate job and the bank. We met you at the bank here. And it's interesting to me that you mentioned managing teams and being the captain of the ship. And I think a lot of, I've spent 15 years in corporate America. You learn a lot of skills that translate on a film set by being in a corporate environment. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I think, again, it's about sort of leadership skills. And I think that one of the most important things that I learned as far as leadership skills, being in that sort of corporate setting, is that when you're a leader, it's not necessarily about the glory of me as a leader. It's about what I can do to serve those who I'm supposed to lead. And, you know, leadership to me is service. And so when I put together a film set, it's very important that the people there are taken care of, that they're safe, that they feel that they have a space to explore as artists. And that's really important to me as like going into leadership with that service mentality. And that's something that I learned along the way, you know, and that's how you get that's how you get people's buy-in, because you got to help them out as much as they help you out. It's not just about my film. It's like, if you're in this film, you're going to walk away with something that can help you grow your reel, help you, go forward with your career. And so that's pretty much how I look at every film project, is how can I help those who I'm supposed to lead? There's no other way to do it, especially at this level, at indie level. Like, you have to be, how are we helping people? How are we building those partnerships? And that's one of the things that I take with me all the time. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. So as far as your inspirations go, who do you look, and I had an old community mentor who has since passed, she may have passed maybe 6 years ago, who said, I don't look up at people, I look at people. So who do you look at that inspires you to do what you do?
Oh gosh, there's so many people. There's so many people. I think that, again, story making is a part of my DNA. So I don't look at, just, directors or people in the field for just inspiration. I think everyday people who go out there and have enough gumption to live their dreams, I respect that sort of situation. But, as far as like inspirations, my mama, mama.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just because my mother, she was a single mom, and I watched her do impossible things. She taught me how to leap, right? You know what I mean? She taught me how to leap. She's currently working for the government, and she is on her, I think, 4th tour. She's in Afghanistan right now in the Lord's year of 2020. You know what I mean? Wow. So she's over there, and she's like, working in defense logistics, dealing with terrorism and COVID and all this sort of stuff. And just her ability to have faith that she's going to be okay in that. That's what inspires me. That's what makes me go, you know what, this storytelling is a part of me, and it's who I am. So I can walk in that because I learned how to leap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And of course, there's all sorts of people. Oprah, you know what I mean? All sorts of people. Barry Jenkins, I love him as a director. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I'm rooting for everybody Black. So,
Yeah, me too. Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody, all of them. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the film. What inspired you to tell this story?
So this particular this version, the version that you have on the film is not the main version. This story is something I wanted to tell. A version of the story is something I wanted to tell before I wrote my first book. Like, I knew that I wanted this to be one of my first films that I did. Wow. But okay. I just didn't get around it. Life got in the way, but the story was just sitting there. And the story is kind of based on back in the day when I was single out in the streets, and how terrible it could be, how things can come undone if you're too afraid to follow your heart, in regards to romance, and how you can just like let the wrong people in and get got. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was kind of based on that. It was kind of based on those early days when I first moved to Chicago. So I was out here in these streets, trying to do it. So yeah, it's kind of based on that.
And where are you from originally?
I am from Michigan. I am Kalamazoo, Michigan originally, but before I moved there, I was in the actual country. I'm talking about like dirt road, South Haven country, like
Mm-hmm.
straight up.
Oh, so you definitely have to have an imagination.
Yeah.
If you
We didn't have nothing else to do, so I'm like, I'll just dream that story. So yeah, which it was a gift, honestly, to be left alone to your own devices and really develop your art. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of artists have some reoccurring themes in their work. And with you, you have two different mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any reoccurring themes in your books and your films that you just can't get away from? You have to include it in some kind of way.
I think honestly, I love a good soap opera. I love some soapy drama, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that I love the most about storytelling is sort of like my story isn't just my story. My story belongs to the people that I bump into, and I really, one of the things I really like exploring as an artist and as a storyteller is sort of the interconnectedness of life.
Mm-hmm.
How the decisions you make can irreparably affect my life and then affect someone else's life, and how we're all connected and we're all have our own individual like stories, but it's all part of this one big story. And just the sort of epicness and the beauty of all that's one of my themes. That's one of the things that I'm always trying to like work out and explore, and trying to tell the biggest story I possibly can with my resources. And just that sort of connectedness that we all kind of fall into,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's it, man. This how we're connected, so.
Cool. Cool. And I'm a process guy. Like I like to know kind of what it took to make it happen. Um, how many days did you shoot? What were some kind of the shortcomings of the shoot? I know something
Oh, there's
always
all.
happens on set.
Come on, talk about it.
Something
Oh.
always happens. I mean, I don't think I've been on a perfect set. So talk about, give us the dirt. Tell us what.
Okay, let me tell you the tea. Okay, so oh my God, so much happened. First of all, I was shooting this while Mercury was in retrograde.
Oh,
Okay, no, I'm just
okay.
playing.
That's
But
no.
no, but so what initially happened? I think I had a hard time casting it, right? Because I was coming off my second film, and I really have a lot to show. So it was pretty interesting casting it. That was pretty interesting. And so when I went to go find a location to hold my rehearsals, the place right before, they sent me a message at 4:00 in the morning, the day of the auditions, right? So I needed to split the spot for auditions.
Mm-hmm.
The day of the morning at 4:00 in the morning, they say, "Oh, by the way, boo, we got a gas leak." And so I have no place to hold these auditions, and I'm running around like a crazy person, like
Mm-hmm.
crying, singing Negro spirituals. I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain, just tripping. And so luckily I was able to use an office space on Breather or something like that. And I used the office space, and I had to email people, and, right then in the morning. And luckily some people showed up. I'm sure I lost some folks because they was like, what is this ratchet situation this dude got me going on? That was pretty intense. And in one of the scenes, we rented an Airbnb in Lakeview the day that they're doing the air show. So at one of the most pivotal scenes, we had to keep on stopping because there were fighter jets flying overhead. And I ain't got no money to do no ADR. Okay.
Okay.
We ain't doing that. No, we got to get this right. So yeah, it was pretty intense there. The raw footage, there's some raw footage of me cussing in the background. Because of like Samuel Jackson, I ain't gonna do that now because it's a family show, but
it's PG. Okay.
Yeah, but that was pretty intense. But there's always something that's gonna happen, and I think that especially if you go into it, indie filmmaking, that you're creating a world in this world, like you're creating a world in the outside world, and there's so many elements that are going to come in and try to disrupt that. That's why it's important to have a plan and a backup plan for that. So you never know that your location may have a gas leak. What are you going to do? So it's about, kind of, it's this wonderful dance with the universe, right? You have your process in place. You get the actors together. You schedule out. We shot for like 3 days. That film, we did it in like 3 days. And so, trying to kind of like just negotiate with the universe, because a plane's going to be overhead, a train, and Chicago's a very loud city. You don't realize it until you're trying to film something that something is always happening. But it's being on set and directing a set and watching it all come together. There is no high like that, like nothing. There's nothing. And the film, sometimes you have an idea what the film is going to be, but the universe said, nah, we're going to do something else with it. And you just kind of have to go with it. And it's,
I mean, I can attest to that. You go in thinking like, okay, this is what it's going to be. And then it's like, usually most of the time it's better though, right?
Yeah. And it's you get to play.
Yeah.
And, just have fun with it. And, experiment, like, practice, it's fun. You never know what's going to happen when you get all that stuff together. So I was very grateful, for my cast and crew. And every time I film, it's always a humbling learning experience. And it's about opening yourself up to the lessons that you can learn. So the next go round, you can make something even better. So.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. And I always say that, it's great to have a director and like yourself that's collaborative, and actors typically spend more time on set than directors do because they can book gigs back to back to back to back. They don't have to stay with a project from beginning to end. So they typically know what works and what doesn't. So speaking to my audience who are new or beginning filmmakers, listen to the actors. The actors often know what's going on.
But moreover, if you let your if you like the thing is when I go cast someone, right? Because I'm a writer, okay, I have the whole story worked out in my head. But as a novelist, it's like it's just me and it's just my vision. The best part about filmmaking is the collaboration, is to have those other people bringing their talent and elevating the story. Like I have had incredible moments where actors will do stuff. If you give them room to play, they want to be good. And they will do some stuff with your characters, and it will just like, I mean, some of these characters or some of these actors, the way they handle my characters, it blows my mind how they make them this 3-dimensional person. I mean, seriously, when I go to cast someone, I look to be surprised. Like I want somebody to just like snatch my edges off. Okay, I want to be bald by the time, just snatch it off. Shake me. You know what I mean? Like, and I've had that moment happen. And, the last film that I did, there was a casting kerfuffle. I lost 2 of my leads, and so I had to recast. And honestly, the people that were in that film, I cannot imagine anyone else handling those characters. Like the chemistry they had together, like it made, because I edit my own stuff too. So I'm like constantly watching it and watching it and watching it and watching it. But there's still such beauty and there's still such life, and they make very interesting choices. So there's so much stuff to like go in and edit and to work out, and it's phenomenal. So yeah.
Cool. So what do you want people with this particular film, Without You, what do you want people to walk away with after they view the film?
I think honestly, do what's right. Like, do what's right. You know what I mean? Be honest, do what's right. And you cannot have love and fear exist together. Like you can't. Like you can't truly love somebody if you're afraid. So I think that's one of the messages of the film. If you're afraid, you're gonna miss out on love.
And
go ahead.
And is that an experience that you've had to overcome?
No, not me in particular, but I think I was the other person telling someone else not to be afraid, because I ain't scared.
Okay.
but yeah, it was just it's just a story I really wanted to tell, and I think that it was fun, and I had a good time with it. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait for COVID to be over. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to shoot some stuff. I've been shooting stuff for artists and like some local businesses, just because like I need to shoot something.
You need a creative outlet. I mean, we all.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's like being a caged animal. I mean,
Mhm.
we need to create. Go ahead.
Well, luckily I had some films to edit, but now I'm at a point now where I've literally edited everything to death. So I have nothing now. So, yeah. Oof.
So, what's next for you? What are you doing after this? And I think
Well,
you touched on it before, but
yeah. So the film that I was filming in March, I've just finished it up. So I am going to, do like a Zoom release party for the cast and crew, and I've been really partnering with businesses, just because I have a lot of, over the years I've amassed like lights and cameras and sliders and all this equipment. Like I have a computer that's designed, this basically built for editing. So it's just like I'm not using these things. So I have reached out to lawyers, and they did videos in regards to like care, like renter's assistance, what to do if you're protesting. And so I partnered with a bunch of lawyers to do like a sort of playlist to help the community out. I've been reaching out to businesses just to start doing some, especially small businesses in the area that are still here, especially like new businesses that are opening up, because the city is COVID-19 has changed the city, right? Businesses are shutting down, and Black businesses, 40% of Black businesses have been shut down and will not be coming back due to COVID-19. And I think that is a terrifying aspect. So I'm looking to see what resources I have to try to, help. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what's next for me, and just holding on, hanging out, and grateful to be a part of your organization and show my film. So yeah.
Oh, we're always great. We're always glad to have you. It's funny because only two of us know that we work with you as a banker.
Yeah.
And every time your film comes across, it's always yes votes. So that's good to see. So it's not just like we're passing along a favor. People actually within the organization that don't know the connection love your films.
Well,
So
when we first met, I was just like, I kind of do this, I don't want to be all like, hey, because I know y'all have this happen all the time. I know y'all probably like, oh, hey, I make a movie too. I got a little something, something. So, I didn't want to be like that. I just said, hey, here you go. Just check it out. Well, no big deal. It's not a big deal. And I'm grateful that you guys loved it, because
it's to me, it's also just maintaining community too. I think for this film, we posted the casting notice, for instance. I mean, little things like that can go a long way.
Yeah.
And, we look forward to just collaborating on anything that we can with anybody in the future.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Shelby, for joining me today. Do you have any final words that you want to, tell our audience?
No, just thank you for, if you watch my film, thank you for watching my film. Everybody stay safe out there, stay sane. We gonna make it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, we are a community of survivors, and I do want to point out before we go that we are, for the very first time, awarding audience awards this year. So we have a short film category, a documentary category, and a feature film category. And when you do watch films on the 16th, please rank the film at the bottom. There is a ranking mechanism, and we will categorize them, and then the best rank in each category will get our Black Alphabet Film Award.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right.
So Shelby, invite your friend. No, I'm kidding. So
Pookie and them, get on it.
run up the score. So, all right. Thank you so much, Shelby. I really appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.